Nick, this wasn't a game that should have been an obvious Patriots win. This was a sort of scaled-down Patriots offense going up against a very good and healthy, for a change, Texans defense. Were you impressed by what the Patriots did in their win?
Absolutely. Their ability to keep Tom Brady clean for the most part. I mean, he was sacked twice, only hit 5 times, compared to, by the way, Deshaun, who was hit a dozen times in the game. I thought that was impressive. We knew that Gronk, this is the difference between Belichick and everybody else, and certainly Belichick and O'Brien. Belichick knows what you want to do going into a game and takes it away from you. Other coaches know what you want to do going into a game and seemingly make it easier for you. We knew their option was going to be Gronk first, Gronk second, Gronk third, and nobody could stop him. And the Texans also, by the way, made mistake after mistake. And Deshaun, I appreciate Deshaun taking responsibility, because while his coach did him no favors, he did have a brutal game. He fumbled on his first touch. He missed a touchdown on 4th down. He had a bad interception, but the Patriots took advantage of all of it. And the Patriots continue to say, oh, okay, Philip Dorsett, you're a washed-out first-round pick who's never had you've had one big game in your career. What are we going to do with you? Okay, 7 catches, that's a career high. 66 yards, that's the second most of your career, or third most of your career, pardon me, and a touchdown.
Nick, do you think that was the plan going in?
I think the plan going in is we will see what you're giving us, and we will take advantage of it. And we have spent this entire offseason making sure we are only going to ask Philip Dorsett to do what he's comfortable with. So now he's going to look like a legitimate NFL receiver. And so the Pats, yeah, Brady played a great game, because of course he did, and they took advantage of the Texans' mistakes.
Yeah, it's not just Philip Dorsett, though, Nick. It's all the players on the Patriots. That's what Bill Belichick does better than any coach in the National Football League. He only asks his guys to do things that they're good at, and he keeps them out of situations where their deficiencies can be exposed. And on the other side of that coin, he always puts your guys in situations where they have to do things that they're not good at. You mentioned it. You know that Rob Gronkowski is the #1 wide receiver for Tom Brady going into yesterday's game. You figure you're going to have to stop him, but yet somehow, some way, they can't get it done. Now, Bill O'Brien did him a favor at the end of the first half by not calling a timeout and giving the officials an opportunity to get the buzz from the booth.
That might have been a 7-point mistake.
It was a 7-point mistake.
That wasn't a catch. It was called a catch. It wasn't a catch. At any review, it would have been overturned. The Pats intelligently rushed to the line. It's inside 2 minutes, so you can't challenge. But what you can do, if you realize, by the way, the ref screwed it up and the replay review screwed it up. They screwed it up first. But in case of emergency, break glass. You're Bill O'Brien. You have 3 timeouts. You're not going to use them. You went to have with 3 timeouts. Once you see they're not going to buzz it, and the Pats get to the line, call timeout so then they have time to review it. And Bill O'Brien, again,
you said it. You said it last week.
I said going into the game that he will cost you points in these situations. He said after the game, standoffishly, that's not my job. Nah, bro, literally, you're the only person whose job it is.
Game management is a head coach's responsibility.
And you're the only person allowed to call timeout aside from the players. And the players aren't supposed to call timeout in that spot because they think they need a review. They're supposed to rely on the coach. But the game management there, you cost maybe 7 points there. And then at the end of the game, the guy punted away, down 14 with 4.5 minutes left. You can't win games like this. The NFL's too hard with too many excellent teams and great coaches to have a guy consistently kneecap you on game day. And so Deshaun didn't look right, by the way. That is the other big story of the game. There were some times where last year there was a seam and he would have run through it. He did not seem comfortable. His throws seemed off, and he did not seem comfortable on the knee, most notably. Now, I think that'll get better, but the Texans are sunk if he's not great. We knew he wouldn't be as great as he was last year, but we're seeing him miss throws. But the thing that's frustrating to me is the 23-year-old kid took full accountability at the podium. The Texans coach says, not my job, on something that cost your team, in my eyes, a touchdown and totally changed the complexion of the football game.
Were you also concerned a little bit with what you saw from Deshaun Watson, or some of that perhaps being maybe he's a little gun-shy to get out there and give 100% just for fear that he might hurt himself again? And is that something that just comes with time?
Well, I anticipated that he wouldn't be 100% recovered from the knee injury. I mean, he's less than a year removed from ACL reconstruction, and it usually takes a year before you start to feel like yourself. So I'm not surprised that he struggled a little bit, but the things that I said Deshaun Watson couldn't do, which is turning the football over, the fumble, the interception, those mistakes can't happen if the Texans were going to go into Foxborough and win. It's hard to win in Foxborough when you're not winning the turnover battle. And so that's the one thing that I'm looking at with this team. They didn't extend drives, 2 of 11 on third downs. Those were the things that Deshaun Watson was going to have to do if this team was going to be competitive. I thought the defense did enough. I'm not going to say they had a great outing, but they did enough. I just felt like offensively it was so bad that they couldn't overcome that, and ultimately they couldn't get the win.
And quickly, the two things we were worried about with the Pats all offseason offensively. Who's going to catch passes? Well, they had 9 different guys catch passes. And how good's the offensive line? Against a very good, healthy pass rush, they kept Brady clean throughout. 2 sacks, only 5 hits to the quarterback. Trent Brown, who's kind of been pressed into duty at left tackle, I thought he played a good game. And so credit to the Pats. Like Mangini always talks about the O-line coach, Scarnecchia. We've all talked about how they will find wide receivers wherever, and they seem to have done it at least for a week once again.
Who's going to catch passes? Everyone's catching. You catch them all. You catch them all. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.